Hey, this is Cameron and welcome to the reaction log. Whoa. I just made a video on this up-and-coming guitarist, Mk.gee. You guys remember that one? By the way, it just got a copyright strike, so I had to remove a little bit of that video. How annoying is that? I need to figure out how to make enough money to hire a team of lawyers to defend my videos, and I figured the best way to do that is to make more hate content, because you guys love that. You guys just love it. You eat it up, little piggies, you eat it up. Sorry. Alright, let's calm down a little bit. And speaking of hate content, there's another YouTube guitarist. He's not a classical guitarist, which I'll introduce myself in a second, but he also makes hate content, clearly by this title and thumbnail. The Mk.gee guitar sound is bad. Boom! I love that parentheses right there. That's like a sneak attack. You think it's gonna be neutral? The Mk.gee guitar sound delivered to you there, parentheses, is bad. And not only in the Mk.gee guitar sound, everything is bad. And that's as far as I want to read into this, because essentially what we have here, which, let me go ahead and introduce myself now. I am a classical guitarist here on YouTube. And what does it mean to be a classical guitarist? It means that when I find people who agree with exactly what I think, that affirms my worldview, and that's what makes me happy. That's how I justify spending tens of thousands of dollars studying what is a dead art form. And just surround yourself with people that think that that is a good idea. I'm painting kind of a bleak picture of classical guitar right now. It's certainly captivated me for like years and years. There are a lot of reasons why you should give it a second look, even if you're not a classical guitarist, but we'll talk about that later, perhaps. That being said, let's jump into this video and find out what exactly makes Mk.gee sound so bad.
So I've recently come across a guitar tone that is the worst thing I've heard in years.
Boom!
By all traditional metrics, it's bad, but it's also somehow great.
That's an interesting thing that I'd like to get into, because when I made my Mk.gee video, where I was just doing like not really a deep dive, more like I was just listening to Mk.gee and looking at his YouTube channel for the first time and filming it, and then calling that a flippin' day, which is what I usually do. I didn't think it sounded good at all. In fact, I thought it sounded shockingly bad. And it's surprising that the masses, because he's pretty like massively popular from what I can tell, would want anything to do with that sound. Like even Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's got him on the track. And you know what? Maybe we should actually listen to it really quick. I bet you that Justin Bieber Mk.gee track doesn't have the horrible sounding guitar. Let's see. He just plays the low down stuff. That kind of sounds like the Police. I bet you he doesn't do the horrible like guitar screeching hits. I'm sorry I didn't do this listening before making this video. I mean, I could edit this out. Here it is. Man, it's funny hearing that guitar tone on a Justin Bieber track, isn't it? Mk.gee, please don't copyright strike me, please. I'm sorry. You know, there are some things that I really love about doing this YouTube channel. I would have never listened to the entirety of that Justin Bieber song if it weren't for this video right now, and that's kind of a special thing. I'm being a little sarcastic. Also, I have a little bit of a hypothesis for why people might like this kind of guitar sound, and it's for the same reason, and I'm drawing from an Adam Neely video that I watched like many years ago about 432 hertz. Because there's a group of people that prefer to listen to their music in 432 because of some sort of like spiritual math, like resonance with the earth that the music matches up to and therefore like heals your chakra or something like that. And I vaguely remember something like people preferring when you give them the option between listening to music, the same tune but one's tuned in 432 and then one's tuned in 440, like standard A440. People tended to prefer the A432 tuned music. Is the reason for that because your chakras are being healed? No, it's probably just because people like lower sounding music just because it sounds cool. It's like a little bassier. Because I'm listening to that Mk.gee track and it sounds bad. Like it sounds like a broken guitar signal, but it does sound really deep and warm, which is like, I don't know, it's something. In the first Mk.gee video I made this comparison. It's like when you have an old acoustic guitar that you haven't played for 6 months and all the strings have kind of been drop tuned equally just over time. And you're just like, oh, this feels and sounds so good. It's so like growly and stuff. And then you tune it back up and you're like, I don't really like it. There's too much tension and it's kind of high strung and nasally sounding now. I think people just like a drop tuned guitar. I don't know. Play bass, maybe. Hey, how about that? It's a little too low for everyone. Oh yeah, and my point, in the Justin Bieber tune, there were no gross-sounding sharp laser guitar hits. So I don't know.
It's fascinating because you discover this rebellion against what a good sound used to be.
See, that scares me right there because that sort of sounds like an out with the old and in with the new sort of situation, which is deeply troubling to me, of course, as a classical guitarist. You're gonna have to make a good case for this one.
I want to look at the theory and concept behind this tone that make it so interesting. And so with that, let me show you my take on this modern tone.
Just looking at your face, you're so confused at what you're doing right now. This is what people want, I guess. This is why I reject what people want nowadays. You guys leave so many comments like, oh, you're just like a puppet to old composers. You make nothing original. I don't know. This is what happens when you try to make stuff that's original. You ever think about that? This is the danger of originality. Is this a bad take?
A weird thing, as I've been creating these Mk.gee sounds for this video, I found myself feeling very self-conscious about the sounds I've been making.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. You should listen to that voice in your head when it's like, this is bad. What am I doing right now? Mk.gee should listen to that too, perhaps.
I trust my instincts. I trust what I'm putting out there. But with these modern sounds, it's so counterintuitive. I find myself second-guessing if I'm actually making good, bad tones.
He's really struggling with it, which is really funny.
So for this tone, I'm using a jazz master that's been set up as a baritone, just like Mk.gee does, which means it's tuned down a fourth, and to compensate for this, the strings are significantly thicker.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, how far off is this from guitar that we know and love? Because I even feel like the difference between what we play, which he's like a blues guy and like a funk guy as far as I can tell, and I'm a classical guy, of course, but I feel like our guitars aren't even that different. But this thing is just so different, where it's like, what even is this at a certain point?
He will split his signal into two sounds. The first is through the pickups, out the output jack, just like normal, but then he also uses a MIDI pickup.
A what?
Digital information file, which can then be synthesized into pretty much any sound you want.
I don't know what this is, but it sounds demonic.
Guitar synths have been around since the 80s, but they've never really caught on. Sure, you see them pop up now and then, but they've never been the cool sound. Until Mk.gee. I mean, the specific standalone VG8 guitar synth that he uses has gone up like 10, 20 times since he started playing it, and everybody else wanted to get that sound.
Hey, with that money, you could buy a third of a classical guitar.
Let me show you what it sounds like when we bring this into the mix.
Okay, so I'm not supposed to like this. I'm a traditional, purist, classical musician. I can't help but wonder what it'd be like if I slapped one of these on my Thames and played a guitar concerto or something. Interesting concept, though. And it's funny, believe it or not, I used to take, like, electric guitar lessons when I was a teenager, because that's what teenagers do. You take electric guitar lessons. I remember my guitar teacher showing me this exact equipment. I think he had, like, it was a Fishman or something like that. From Fishman to Smallman, know what I'm saying? And he played it for me and showed me, like, some violin sounds and stuff, and then he was like, yeah, you know, it's not really useful for anything, but it's alright. Hey, little did we know, though. That's why we're not Mk.gee, I guess.
But it's his reverb pedal, the Ranger Reverb X, that I want to talk about. And this pedal is unique because you can set it so that if the reverb goes over a certain volume threshold, it distorts, which kind of just sounds like the reverb's blowing up.
Is that what that sound is that we're hearing? So if you play the guitar too loud, the reverb just kind of explodes? Why is that a pedal? Who would even think to do that? I guess maybe guitar pedals are just so exhausted. They're like, what if you just make a pedal that when you play too loud, it just like breaks? I don't know. That sounds like a good idea.
Typically, this would sound like a mistake. This would not be desirable. But in the setting here, it works.
You could say that. It doesn't make it true, though.
Let me show you what it now sounds like if we bring these effects into the mix.
I feel like the reverb wasn't breaking there as much as it does in Mk.gee's recording. Let's hear the last piece of gear and then we'll...
DI sound. And DI means direct input.
Post in the comments, what does DI stand for? Ooh, everything I'm coming up with, I shouldn't say.
Take your guitar, skip the amp and the microphone, you just plug your guitar directly into the console. One big thing Mk.gee does before his guitar is DI'd out. He sends a sound through a cheap Tascam portal recorder and overdrives the single solid-state channel. So I'm going to recreate this using the JHS 424 gain stage, which is explicitly meant to replicate that Tascam unit.
Dude, this is a pedal that you bought. It sounds like this. Oh my god. Who makes this stuff? You guys will buy anything. Like, you guys hate money or something. Like, these gearheads will just buy, like... This pedal just clips your guitar tone. There you go. That'll be $400.
Over an amp, going through an overdriven Tascam channel, using the distorted reverb, using the synth guitar, the baritone strings. All this goes against what we've traditionally thought of as good, and I love that. So let's put this all together and hear what it sounds like in its entirety.
know what, Samurai Guitarist? You're still giving it too much of a soft touch. You're not making as shrill and as ear-piercing of a sound. Like, again, if we just look at some of this new stuff you put out. Like that kind of sound there. Reverb is one of those effects that, like, I'm very intimate with. Because what is reverb to me? It's the hall that you're in, or the cathedral that you're playing in. It's the house of God. That's where it comes from. And when I hear that there are these reverb pedals that are, like, distorting after you get to a certain volume, if I were in a cathedral that were doing that, I would be like, God has deserted this location. I feel demonic energy in this sacred place when I hear these sounds. And in fact, maybe I'd be performing in that cathedral and I hear it from my own guitar, and I'd look out into the pews and I'd see everybody just looking up. And then I'd run home and find my mom, and I'd see her with her head against the ceiling. She's rising up into the sky, and I try to grab her ankles just to pull her back down, but as I grab her ankles, my hands become so weak and they become so cold, and I can't hold on to her, and I just have to let go. And then I realize the rapture is happening and I am being left behind. And now I'm stuck on this godforsaken planet where when I do want to play guitar in a cathedral, that sound comes out. And that's a very upsetting thought to someone like me. So maybe that's what I don't like about Mk.gee. I don't know what that was, I'm sorry. Samurai Guitarist did a really great job of breaking down and researching like what exactly the history of guitar tone and what exactly has led to Mk.gee's tone. So I do very much recommend, if you're interested in that stuff, go and watch that video. I promise I'll link it this time. And I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's a big deal here on YouTube. And most importantly, we have a little more context for Mk.gee and his tone, which is, you know, that's something to think about for today. Hey, I hope you've been practicing your guitar, maybe throughout this video. That's fine, you know, let the ads run, that's cool. I have some really interesting things cooking right now, and I'm excited about it. One of the exciting things, my recital class, let me actually check if it's fully booked right now. We're talking about the one this Sunday, I believe the 24th. Whoa, there's 2 spaces left in the recital class this Sunday. So if you'd like to join it, go ahead and sign up for that. There's a description for it now, and read it before you sign up for it because it's a little specific. But if you're a classical guitarist, especially if you're interested in getting some kind of performance opportunity, this is essentially just that. It's a recital class. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Of course, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. I'll update you more on like other stuff at some point, maybe in the next practice log. I've been practicing a lot. I don't really show as much practice as I used to, but I probably should. So, you know, expect a practice log pretty soon. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.